Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, July the 8th, and I'm Bruce Leonard, and this is Bruce Leonard Leans Left. While it's still legal. Still legal today. I know I say this every time, but they're marching through the streets now. Trying to show of force, whatever the force is. I mean, I don't know what they're... But you did not see that. Trump just sent the military to walk across a park in L.A. There's papers that say it's a show of force. And then the mayor showed up, told them to get the fuck out, and they left. So, I don't know what they're doing. And again, there's the Thomas Act that he's not allowed to use the military to do police actions on U.S. soil. So, I think knows that. That's combat terrorist. I can't remember the exact name of the act, but it strictly prohibits the president from turning the military into a police force on U.S. soil. That's why they have to use ICE. Huh. I made a mistake today. Well, first I should tell you, I'm here early today. I'm sorry because I'm going to the Reds game with my father, which we do sometimes, and he'll only go on Tuesdays because it's 3-2-1 day where you get a $3 beer and you can get a $3 beer, a $2 hot dog, or a $1 ice cream. It is a good deal, but he'll only go then because he won't pay. Or when I took him, but tickets were free. Because my dad's still thrifty. You know, he's spending all his money on guns. I don't know where that came from. He doesn't seem to mind spending a bunch of money on guns, but that, God forbid, he spends more than $2 for a hot dog at the baseball game. And what was I going to say? The other thing I was going to say is, I made a mistake. I made a mistake today that and I have avoided it for a long time, but I got into an argument with a Trumper online, and it's pointless. These people are far gone from reality. They make up, like I've said a million times, they make up their own reality. And I showed her that she was wrong unequivocally with facts and statistics, whatever. I mean, it's a budget. Let's see what we're talking about. If you don't know the story, that county where the floods happened, the worst flooding happened in Texas. They wanted to put up a warning siren system. It would cost $1 million. In the state of Texas, or the county, whoever, they said, no, that costs too much money. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But they had money to put razor wire in the Rio Grande. That cost $11 million to put razor wire and balloons, if you remember that. So the state of Texas had $11 million to put razor wire in the river to stop immigrants from crossing. But they didn't have $1 million to put up the sirens to warn people that they might fucking die if there's a flood. And the woman tried to keep telling me that, no, it was the federal government that paid for that razor wire. And they're like, no, it's not. Look it all up, the whole entire budget. The Texas military department paid the money for the razor wire. They're part of the executive branch of the Texas state government. In fact, Biden sent the Border Patrol to cut that wire because people were getting killed, and they sued the Biden administration for destroying state property. And I showed her all of that, and she still said, no. And you're like, there's no hope for these people. None. There's no hope for them. You're never gonna. It's an ideological brain locked that they're like, it doesn't matter how right you are factually. Every single thing that happened in Texas was Republicans. All the way down to the local government. It's all Republicans. Incompetence. All of the things that went wrong, all the way up the chain. From Trump all the way down to the county government of Texas. Republicans. Not a Democrat involved. And you see what they get. And what happened was a few years ago, the heat went out, remember, in the middle of the winter? Their electrical grid goes out all the time. They're incompetent. But yet, these people just keep voting Republicans. They don't care. Ted Cruz was on vacation again. Ted Cruz was in Greece. Remember when the heat went out of the big blizzard and he went off to Cancun? Remember that? That was a few years ago, right? There was an election since then. They voted for him again. And there was another disaster, and he's in Greece. This is the problem with this country. We just keep voting and these same people into offices. They don't do anything. They don't give a fuck about you. All they care about is being internet stars and trolling on the internet. And it's unbelievable. And until we address that problem, and you start to elect serious people, see, people don't seem to understand. People, like I said, they turned government into a reality show. It's a reality show based upon culture wars. And you can't run a country like that. You can have opinions about the culture wars and what you think, but that should have nothing to do with the policies of the government, because the government is only there. I've said this a million times. The government should only be there to ensure the national security of the country, right? Take care of the military and so make sure that, we could win a war if we had to get into one, and to take care of the fucking people in case shit happens like this, and to protect people from things like this. That's it. And you let Trump just cut all that shit? It's like, we don't need this. We don't need the Health Institute. We don't need National Weather Service. It's like, this is a waste of money. It says right in Project 2025, if you had, if you took the time to fucking read it, which you didn't, or you wouldn't have voted for these motherfuckers in the first place, it says right in there that they wanted to get rid of the National Weather Service because they believe that it pushes the climate change, whatever. They don't believe in climate change, and so they believe it's political when the weather people tell you the science of weather. That's political. We can't have that. That's why they cut it. They think it's woke. It's like, you're gonna get woke by a fucking flood coming through your fucking bedroom. It's unbelievable. Like, how stupid this country has become. It's so fast. It's off the chain in 6 months. It's completely off the rails. In every possible way. And now the tariffs are coming back. Yeah, no 90 deals in 90 days, just like I've been telling you for 90 days on this fucking show. He ain't got no deals. Now he's like, we're going to send a letter out. Tell them what they're going to pay. Message said the other day on Sunday, that none of these countries even contacted them. Just like I said to you before. They're saying, fuck you. They don't need us. They keep saying, oh, they need us. What makes you think that? Especially when we're going to be fucking broke here pretty soon. Ain't nobody going to be able to afford to buy nothing anyway, so why would they even bother sending their shit over here? Once he crashes the dollar, these tariffs come back. I told you that just the cheese itself is about to go up $200 a wheel. Like I said, you extrapolate that down to the pound price you're paying, it's going to go up significantly. And you put that on everything else. Then he says 50% tariff on all copper imports. And then he's about to put 200% tariff, 200% on all pharmaceutical imports. So all the medicine you take, all the fucking, ibuprofens and things like that, that shit's going up now. You tell me how any of it makes any sense. I don't know. And there's still nobody that will step in and tell them, hey man, this is a really bad idea. Like, technically the Congress could do that at any time. Because Congress has the power of the purse, and the tariff power is supposed to be in the Congress. And if they wanted to, they could make a law tomorrow and take it back, the tariff power. They could stop all of this. But they won't. Because it's a cult. It's like I said. I got upset. I made a mistake. I got in an argument with this woman, and it was like beating your head, literally, like beating your head against the wall for about 10 minutes. There was nothing I could say or show her, which I showed her. Numerous, examples that she was like, I done my research. She's not like Marge. She done some Marge research. She watched, Tim Pool or Benny Johnson, and they told her that Joe Biden paid for that razor wire in the river. Like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. What can squint at what thing to read it? Oh, the tariff letter? Yeah, that was 2 letters in one thing. The only way to read it is to pinch it up and make it bigger. But I should have posted in the individual letters. I'm sorry. That's on me. I don't even know how much people pay any attention to the things I put out there anymore. It's like, I don't think you would think that there would be a little bit more a feeling of urgency when the fascism is really, when he starts marching the army through the park in Los Angeles just as a show of force. You would think that would scare people and they would get up, and no. Nope. Everybody's just gonna go around like everything's normal. Even the news. Let's see it in them. Nobody's freaking out. Nobody's like, hey man, I don't know if you know this, but the army's marching in the park. They had Humvees out and everything. It's kind of funny because, the funny side of it is that they're just so fucking stupid. Like, they're evil and they have all these bad ideas and they want to dominate us, real hard. But they're just kind of dumb. Everything they do is it's stupid. For the most part, it's poorly executed. And things are unraveling so fast that they can't even hide it anymore. Like today, they asked Trump a question, about Russia's chemical weapons, and he was like, I don't know anything about that. And then he was like, leaned over to Pete Hanks and said, do you know anything about this? It's like, and he's like, no, I don't know anything about it. Maybe John does, whoever the fuck John is. It's like, this is in the middle of a press conference. These guys are idiots. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, George Bush was stupid, but it never was like that. And then, what's her name? Baghdad Barbie, Caroline Levitt. She was talking about, because there was a bunch of controversy. Here's the problem with the story of the flood, okay? The Trump administration's story is that the National Weather Service was working just as it should, and there was no interruption in the thing, and according to them, they sent out warnings at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and like 5:30, I don't know. They said they sent 3 warnings, which would mean, like, you know, when you get a severe warning, like a tornado or something, and your phone goes off, and then it says, you know, hey, there's a alert. They're supposed to trigger everybody's cell phone. Well, the mayor and a bunch of people say their phones never went off. And here's the problem. Normally, you would say, in a normal world, you would be like, they put that warning out. You know, I don't know what happened. Why didn't anybody's phone go off? You know, or, I mean, I guess anybody would be asked those questions no matter what. But because these fuckers lie constantly, you think for 1 second that they wouldn't lie about that? To cover their asses. Let's say they didn't send out a warning. Well, they just easily just say, well, we did. It's like, well, nobody's phone went off. Well, I don't know what that was about, but we put out a warning, you know. They don't have any credibility. So she's at the press conference. And she says, oh, the weather service is working perfectly, and we put out these warnings, and anybody that says anything different is lying. And if you're lying about this, you should be deeply ashamed. And I'm thinking to myself, is she doing comedy right now? All she fucking does is lie. 24 hours a day. That's her job. She just shovels bullshit all fucking day. Lies after lies after lies. And then she has the nerve to say, if you're lying about anything, you should be deeply ashamed. What? Are you fucking kidding me, bitch? These people have the biggest balls I've ever seen. I've never seen people just such brazenly full of shit at all times. It's like they're and like I said, no one challenges them. I see why they do it. You would think at a certain point, after the guy told his 50,000th lie, that like some balloons would drop and like confetti and congratulations, you told your 50,000th lie. That's a lot of fucking bullshit. They ain't bringing like a championship belt. This is bullshitter's champion of the world. No one lies like this motherfucker. I mean, tell you that right now. It's like, now, I don't know where he found that chick, but I will give her credit. She's fucking good at lying. She stands up there with her back straight and her voice loud, and she lies about every fucking thing that's ever happened on this planet. And she sounds convincing. Like this thing with the Epstein list. This is another problem. See what I mean? It's all the same problem. They got no credibility. They're full of shit. For years and years and years, they were saying, oh, this Epstein, there's a list. And Biden's probably on it, and all these Clinton, and all these Democrats, whatever, blah, 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 blah. They've been saying it for years and years and years and getting money, cashing in, selling this shit to people. Ginning up people and convincing them that this shit is real. Now they get the power. They go, here's the files. All of a sudden they're like, oh, there ain't no list. And he killed himself. Clearly. And this just said a month ago, the list, I got the list, it's on my desk. We're going through it, and then we're going to let it out. A fucking month later, like, there ain't no list. What was on your desk? Guy even said, Fox News guy even was like, hey, wait a minute, what happened to Liz was on your desk? That woman goes with a straight face. With a straight face. She goes, well, she was referring to all the papers work involved in the Epstein case, and when they went through it, there was no list. Like, wasn't there some kind of list that was introduced in Ghislaine's trial? That's why she's in prison, right? Well, where's that? Oh, no. You're mistaken. Wait, let me find it. Let me find the thing. There's a thing that says, where is it? Here it is. Yes, information's from Jeffrey Epstein's address book, also known as the Little Black Book, was admitted as evidence in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. The exhibit number associated with this address book in court was Government Exhibit 52-GX52. Where's the book? It's unbelievable. And you would think that would be enough for them to go, oh no, something's wrong with Trump. Maybe I trusted him and I shouldn't have. Nope. Here's one of them. Before. Reid Hoffman is not going to want to hear this, but Trump is going to release the Epstein files when he's elected. After. There's a chain of command on this planet, and elite pedophiles are at the very top, even above Trump, way above him. Okay, so what are you saying? That Trump takes his marching orders from pedophiles? And yet you follow? Here's another guy. It says, Trump is using Epstein's client list as leverage over the deep state and other powerful world leaders to get things done. Trump mastered this game a long time ago. Hey, they say it's not a cult. It's not a cult. Only there's a dear leader who can do no wrong and is right all the time. And anything that you say negative about him, I will immediately dismiss. Trump was right when he said he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and no one would care. He's right. This is what you don't understand. Is he's right. And also, they wouldn't care that he was violent. They want that. They're fascists. Otherwise known as Nazis. They're also white supremacists, fascists, which makes them Nazis. That's what I said. I guess if you're just regular fascists and you have, a multicultural fascist movement, you could just be fascists and not Nazis. But once you introduce the white supremacy, you're fucking Nazis, man. There's nothing, there's nothing else to call you. I'm gonna stop at the fucking gaslight that you're not Nazis. You're all the way down the road to concentration camps. You're fucking Nazis. I'm sick of hearing that you're not. You know, so just because Scott Jennings has a fucking suit and a tie on doesn't make him not representative of fucking. Now, he might not personally be a Nazi, but he definitely fucking shills for him, licks the nuts of Trump. So he works for Nazis, and if you ask me, if you work for Nazis, you might as well be a fucking Nazi, bro. They don't care about the Constitution, or you know, we're all the way through. We're to the other side. Like that. The only thing that we can hope for is that the system holds up enough for us to vote our way back out of fascism. But has that ever happened in the history of the world? I don't know. I have to really look into it. I said, Daniele's in Italy, so I can't ask him. He would probably know, but no, he'd probably say no, too. Like, the only way out of fascism usually is to hang the dude from the fucking bridge, like they did in Mussolini. Even Germany didn't get rid of Hitler. Hitler got rid of himself. Once the train is rolling, hard to turn it around, hard to stop it. Hard to, as I said. I think it'll be interesting if they do get to the midterms, and we do have midterms, and the Democrats do take the Congress back. Then it'll get really interesting as far as like a civics experiment, watching like the democratic institutions try to battle the fascists. Because I'm pretty sure that Trump is just going to ignore whatever they say. And then we're going to find out, like, what happens. If people are going to have to really start choosing sides. Like, that's why they're megaing the military. Why do you think they wanted to get rid of, like, all of the trans people and as many of the gay people as they can find, you know, and get rid of any liberal type influence inside the military, or as much as possible, and then replace it with, like I said, their Trump youth. Because that's another thing. If you don't think that these parents been raising their kids to be Trump youth, you're wrong. You don't know anything about these fascists. That's what they do. You brainwash their kids and then enlist them into the movement. Whenever you ever seen them pictures, like they used to take little kids, they have little tiny, they have like baby Klan outfits. Child size robes and that. For the kids. That's how you brainwash your kids. That's why they don't like universities and colleges. Because what happens is, that's why they say, oh, it's a liberal influence. They're like, what happens is, your kid that you probably raised to be a racist and shit goes to college, and all of a sudden he's around a bunch of people that he never was around before. And then he starts to realize, hey man, some of these people are pretty cool. And then he goes back home and says, hey dad, you were wrong when you said that all these people from other countries were terrible and awful. Like, some of them are really cool and they have good food and blah, blah. And he goes, oh, the liberals have got hold of my boy. It's the college. Like, it's the professors. It's like, no. It's the real world. See, I told you, the only way fascism and ideologies like that can exist is if they have someone to hate. You have to invent a boogeyman enemy and then sell it to you that that's a threat to your existence. And you got to do something about it, you know. When in reality, most people are pretty cool. You go outside, you meet all kinds of different people, right? Most of them are pretty cool. Most of them are nice. Most human beings want the same thing. They want to eat and fuck every now and then, you know, maybe have kids. Some people want to have kids. I don't, especially now. I'm so glad I don't have kids. And I will admit that there have been, you know, there's been times when I thought, you know, maybe I could have had a kid, you know, wherever. And I look around the world and I'm like, thank God. I don't want to be explaining to some kid all this shit. What's wrong with us? I don't know what's wrong with us, but there's something wrong with us. None of this would be happening if there wasn't something wrong with it. Something deeply wrong with this. There's something deep inside of human beings that is ugly and can be tapped into for mass movement. And it's happened, you know, over history, over and over and over again. I just thought that perhaps we were above that, but we're not, obviously. We're obviously not, because look at us. Look what's going on. You got people driving. This is no shit. You got people driving hours because they put up the sign and said alligator Alcatraz. You got people in Florida driving for hours to stop there and take a picture by that sign. That's it. It's like if they went to the gates of Auschwitz to take a picture under the, you know, the gate that said Arbeck macht frei. You know, like it's sick. I mean, there's nothing else you can say about it, really. And again, if you were expecting comedy today, I'm sorry. I find that kind of disturbing. That people are that excited about a concentration camp that they would go and take pictures under the sign. It doesn't make you very proud to be an American. It makes you realize that we live with a lot of assholes, man. We got a lot of fucking jerk-offs in this country. They seem to be, you know. And again, that's the problem, is they think that they are right about everything, right? And so therefore, any questioning of that means that you don't love America, because the America they're talking about is the ugly, evil version that you see. You know, where they don't want to talk about slavery and like I said, killing all the Indians and all the things. And Coulter. They were having some kind of discussion. There was an American Indian, Native American woman speaking at this thing. And Ann Coulter tweets on Twitter, "We didn't kill enough Indians." I don't really care anymore. If you support these people, if you think that that's cool, you're a fucking asshole, and I don't want you in my life to begin with. I tell you the truth. So you can stay the fuck away from me. Because I'm over it. Yeah. And people say, "Oh, you're gonna kill off half the market for your comedy." It's like, these people aren't a market for my comedy. These people don't have a sense of humor. These people are evil fucks who are taking pictures under a concentration camp sign because that's a clever name. And they like the idea that there's brown people locked up in... This is another thing that just happened. Remember all this time Trump was saying, "I can't do anything about these people in El Salvador because once they're there, they're under the custody of El Salvador." Well, El Salvador said no. Trump has custody of these people. He can do whatever he wants. This is what everybody said all along, because they're contracted. He paid them money. Which means that they've been going into the court of law for 6 months now and lying their ass off. Right? What are they going to do about that? Nothing. They're going to get away with it. Why do you think they keep doing this shit? Because they keep getting away with it. They get away with it. That's why I said the system itself isn't strong enough to protect itself from these kind of people. And to me, that's the most serious #1 problem that needs to be addressed in this country. The system needs to be strengthened up. There needs to be laws written, which you wouldn't think there had to be a law written that says if you don't follow the Constitution, that they can put you in jail. Especially if you take an oath to defend it. But apparently there's not a law like that, because he just breaks the Constitution wherever he wants. If he just commit perjury, his lawyers just commit perjury for 6 months. Telling the court, oh, we can't do nothing about these El Salvador people because we don't have control over them. Which is asinine on the face of it. Of course they have control over them. They paid them to take the people. They took the people down there. They're Americans. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They're not Americans, but they're in the custody of the United States. As long as they're in a facility. That's why I said I don't understand why they couldn't just deport people and drop them off at the airport or something. Why they gotta lock them up in this prison? Because it's a reality show. It's performative. It's to scare other people to either not come here or to get out of here. You know, like Stephen Miller's a Nazi, bro. Full on. I don't care what anybody says. The evidence speaks for itself. The man is a Nazi. He's been yelling and screaming since high school. He's got there's hundreds of hours of Stephen Miller screaming and yelling. I can't believe he hasn't popped a blood vessel in his head at some point or another. I've never seen a guy. I mean, I used to be an angry dude. Like I've never been. He's like anger. He turned his anger up to 11. He spinal tapped his anger. He spinal tapped into his anger and turned it up to 11. Because Stephen Miller's an angry dude. And now Musk fucked his wife. He's even twice as angry. I can't believe his head just doesn't explode sometimes, like scanners, like just, while he's talking. Yeah, I mean, he never talks. He's just yelling and screaming all the time. He's got to be a blast at parties. Even the other Nazis are like, man, we probably shouldn't invite Stephen Miller to the party. He's a real downer. It's a real bummer, man. It's like, never shuts up. It's unbelievable. Speaking of Spinal Tap, I went and saw Spinal Tap. The remastered 45th anniversary edition. They put it out for 4 days, I think, and they played it twice a day. And Spinal Tap's one of those movies. It will never not be funny. It's timeless. The themes that they make fun of. It's just like it's a top 5 comedy ever made of all time. Python has 2 of them, and Spinal Tap is one. And you could probably argue about the other 2. There's a bunch of good comedies that you could slide in there. Blues Brothers, probably, maybe Caddyshack. There's a lot of really fun. The original Arthur with Dudley Moore, not the fucking Russell Brand piece of shit. They fucking shit all over that. Anyway, I took my friend who never seen it, and she made a mistake when she was drinking her Coke, and she wound up spitting it all over the. Because it'll never not be hilarious. It's funny as fuck. I still laugh. It's funny. I'm sorry, Julia. I'm going to the Reds game with my dad. I posted it on Facebook. Yeah, I was going up for. But yeah. She spit the Coke all over there. She's like, it's like, Spinal Tap will never not be funny. It's fucking hilarious. Still, he's got the little bread. I need. Would you be holding this? It's so funny. And you need that in the world now, especially more than anything. And then they showed a clip from the in September when I was Spinal Tap. The end continues, and they showed a clip from it, and it was funny. They look old as fuck. I mean, they are old as fuck, but they look old. And you would think like, oh, they can't do this, but like all these bands that are old, that are playing still, like AC/DC and Rolling Stones, like there's so much for them to make fun of. I guarantee you, it's still gonna be funny. And Rob Reiner ain't gonna put out some shit. He's getting old. It's his legacy stake. And like I said, Spinal Tap it's a classic. Like it'll never not be funny. Like 50 years from now, you could put it on and it'll still be funny. Because bands are always they're always. It means show business itself. It doesn't change. Like the production value and all that changes. You know, everything changes. But what happens behind the scenes and the people involved in it, it doesn't ever change. You know, usually it's dumbasses. You know, it's douchebags. Arrogant people that got, you know, they give them a lot of money and they act even dumber. You know, it's like, it's, the themes are timeless. I say, so it'll never not be funny. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't, because apparently that said that no one's going to stop them with this dumb tariff thing, so buckle up. The market was already percolating downward. It's gonna crash again. Here's the thing that's hilarious too. I don't know if you watch all this stuff. No, you do, Julia. I just saw it in the theater last night. It was so funny. Anyway, I'm sorry. It was Sunday night I saw it. He came in, right? He crashed the market, right? Then the market clawed back to almost where it was, but not quite where it was. And then they're like, look at the markets. They're doing great. It's like, then it's barely crawling back to where it was before you trashed it. Isn't like progress, bro. And now he's going to crash it again. Because the tariff pause coming off August 1st. He says it's a hard date. He's not going to taco this time. He's going to turn it on. 50% tariff on all copper imports. He put tariffs on Japan. You know what that means, don't you? I mean, all your electronics, all the Nissans and the Hondas, it just comes from Japan. Toyotas. These prices going up. People are like, this is great. The dollar is tanking. I said the dollar is at the lowest it's been since like 1973. And then everybody's, oh, this Scott Bessent said, I swear to God, you didn't see him on the Sunday show. He said, President Trump is the most economically savvy president we've had in at least 100 years, maybe ever. Really? He said, oh yeah, he's navigated through more bankruptcies than anyone you've ever seen. They fucking believe this stuff. None of them. He said they didn't call. I said that on this show. I don't know if you remember that. I predicted the future again. I told him. I said on the show. I said, watch, these countries going to tell us to fuck off. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't even contact him. Bessent even said a lot of these countries didn't even try to contact us. Why would they? Besides, you can't trust him anyway. Look what happened to Japan. That guy came and groveled. I don't know if you remember that. That guy came. He groveled before Trump. He licked the nuts. He gave him a gift of a samurai helmet or some shit. He did all the things. What did he get out of it? 45% tariff. It's like, so why would you... Why would you think you could trust this guy? You can't trust him. He's a lying fucking meatbag of shit. It's like, he's not gonna... He doesn't have a word to hold to. A word don't mean nothing to Trump. He could say something today, he'd wake up tomorrow and go, you know what I said yesterday? Fuck it. Because he's a piece of shit. Yes, Julia. They're making deals with the European Union. The European Union is making deals with them. And Canada's pretty much joining the European Union. I mean, I don't know if they're actually going to physically join, but they pretty much joined already. You know, they're in on the meetings and shit. It's like the rest of the world is going to move on without us for at least the next 3.5 years. I don't think people get that part. I said Jennings was on saying that, wow, these countries need us. Blah, blah. Do they need us? Scott Jennings? I mean, you're obviously convinced of that, but the evidence doesn't seem to show like it. If they needed us, don't you think they would have called them? They would have reached out somehow, right? Like, hey man, we need to make this happen somehow. We need to be like, no. People are like, you know what? Fuck them. It's just like this flood. You know that the Mexican president sent Mexicans to help save people in the floods. Luckily, they get fucking jacked up by ice. Well, they were trying to save people, but what did Trump do? He rushed the fucking military through the park in L.A. today to show a force to these... Yes, Julia. Julia says, America's going to be the kid whose dad went out for a pack of cigarettes and never came back. I don't think that he understands that he's like a little kid who thinks he's the center of the universe. And, you know, the rest of the world's like, you know what, man? It's a serious world. We ain't got time for this clown shit. Just like the fucking weapons. Apparently Hegseth got drunk or something and was like, fucking Ukraine, I'm cutting off the weapons. And then Trump was like, I don't know who cut off the weapons. but we're gonna give them back. We're gonna turn them back on, dude. And then there's a bunch of stuff today like, oh, Trump embarrasses the Pentagon by going around them. And it's like, well, the fact that they don't even know they don't know what they're doing. How can the Pentagon be like unilaterally just go, we're cutting off the Ukraine weapons, and the President of the United States is like, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to cut off the Ukraine weapons. Well, then why aren't you on the same page? This is the highest echelons of national security in the government. You're not on the same page. I mean, there's a lot of fucking weird shit going on. And you're like, I gotta get in the signal chat and figure out what's happening. I don't know, man. Do you feel safe? I don't know. I feel safe to say. I think I said this before, and I think it's true. It's horrible what's going on, but I think in the long run, it's good for Europe. It's going to be good for Europe. That they realize that they can't just rely on us to save them, all the time, because as you can see, we're not a serious country anymore. So. I wouldn't want to be thinking that we're going to save you either. It's like, he'll drop 2 bombs and say, look at obliterate the whole thing. Problem solved. That's basically his foreign policy. Right? I dropped 4 bunker busters and problem solved. Don't do what I want now. It's like, unscathed. Juliet, like I said, this problem is self-contained at this point. It ain't gonna be like other countries are gonna come and like invade us or some shit. It's like this country's falling apart internally. And I think the rest of the world knows that. They're stepping back. And like, well, guess we'll see what happens. It's like, it's been a while since we had a civil war, but that's what's feels to me. It feels like that's about the only outcome. Did you see what he said today? He said now that churches can just endorse political candidates; they don't gotta pay taxes. These are Christo-fascists, bro. This is what we're dealing with. And you're going to lay down and let the Christo-fascists take the country over and do whatever the fuck they want? Or people are going to have to wake up and be like, hey, man, we got to do something about this situation. That's where we're at. And like I said, the rest of the world, I think, knows. They're like, and then step back. Like, well, I guess we'll let them handle it amongst themselves. And that I hope it doesn't come to that, but increasingly feels like that's why I was saying about hope we get to the midterms, and they can get the Congress back, and then we'll see what happens. Because at least if you get half the government back, you can at least put some brakes on some of this shit. But we're in a bad spot. I know people say, come to the show for comedy, but not a lot of comedy in this situation at the moment. It's all kinds of funny shit, but it's the darkest comedy you've ever. I said doom comedy. I'm just riding the boat, like I said before. And I am your driver, and please come back Thursday, 6 o'clock. I'll be back at 6 on Thursday. I'm sorry I had to come on early because I said I'm going to the Reds game with my dad. I don't get to do too much stuff with my father anymore, and when he asks me to, I make time for him. Yes, Juliet. Look it up. I said the IRS themselves, Trump's IRS, said that they're taking away that rule. That now churches can endorse political candidates and they still don't have to pay taxes. Which that rule has been in place since like 1954, I believe. So, 75 years or so. That's been the policy of the United States government. No longer. Because, like I said, these people are Christo-fascist, white nationalist Nazis. Don't fool yourself that they're anything else than that, because that is what they are. That's what we're dealing with. Just wanted to make sure we're clear and the facts are straight. And again, I'll be back Thursday at 6 o'clock. I am Bruce Leonard. This is Bruce Leonard Leans Left while it's still legal. I appreciate you watching, each and every one of you. I'm going to go watch the game with my father. And please, come back Thursday, 6 o'clock. Good night.